I'm Christopher Dennis, and this is Finlandia Fridays.
Welcome to Finlandia Fridays. My name is Michael Babcock. I am your host for this weekly interview series here at Finlandia University. This week we are joined by senior, soon-to-be graduate, soon-to-be an alum of Finlandia University, Christopher Dennis. Chris, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Michael.
Chris, we're happy to have you, and of course this is your second time here on Finlandia Fridays. We had you on last spring as we previewed an internship opportunity you had, and at the very end of it, I know we were both sitting here talking, and we kind of realized, well, maybe we should talk about this one more time before you leave campus.
Indeed.
And so we're happy to have you back to talk about that opportunity. You spent the summer with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Did I get that all right?
Yes, you did.
So let's dive into that. What was that?
So the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, what that was it was a 3-month internship, and I worked 8 to 5 every day going to the Federal Center down in Chicago. What I did there was I essentially reviewed Dodd-Frank and all of its entire 1,000+ pages. I went to examination spots at banks and different financial institutions and engaged in what examiners did. I was under the mentorship program under alum interns that went for me. And what they did was they took me under their wing and they were explaining the ropes around the CFPB and what examiner life entailed. I wrote reports and did some financial research on different financial entities, and then reported to my field managers on a regular basis. It
sounds like you were quite busy.
I was, every day.
What I love about the experience here is it sounds like you were basically, that was a full-time job, and you were working.
Yes.
What did it feel like to get out of the classroom, out of the theory-based things you're working on, and into a real-world situation?
So, learning things in the criminal justice program taught me like the fundamentals with white-collar crime and different theories and everything, and I learned a lot in the classroom and with data and research, but then applying what I learned out in the real world was essential, especially in researching bank entities and what their assets and revenue came to be. I didn't know anything about financial stuff. I had no clue, but what did help me was like studying the different regulations and what standard they were held to, and I reflected back to like the ethical standpoints from what I learned in the CJ program, and that, you know, banks are held to a higher standard more so than, in my opinion, any other industry.
Yeah. One of the things that attracted me to your story when I first was presented with the idea of talking to you about this is just that an internship, from my experience, was phenomenal. It made a huge difference in my life as a professional to go into an internship that was fairly structured and learn what it's like to be a professional. Talk a little bit about the importance that you see in an internship, especially for somebody in our arts and sciences programs where internships aren't necessarily as common.
So you mentioned that being professional, and that was pretty much key because every day I came into a business suit, even though our director was like, I despise you guys wearing ties, I don't want you to wear ties, but when we went to like a bank institution, we'd wear ties and a suit for the first day and then be business casual, and appearance was everything because you want to look professional and be the part in front of these CEOs or CFOs and talking to them. When I was applying for internships, one of the things that I had to take into consideration is who do I want to work for? How can I sell myself? And I found myself applying to the FBI, the National Security Agency, and the CFPB was the ultimate fit because of the work culture there. And I was like, you know what? I want to work somewhere where I'm going to feel valued, one, but two, I can apply what I learned in school. And so I have different CJ students have approached me and asking, well, what kind of internships are out there? And I'm like, well, you could go for the federal government, state, or local. And I encourage them to apply.
Yeah, it sounds like one of the other benefits of an internship is just that idea of like getting to that job eventually.
Right.
You're looking at you're going to be graduating in December here, and it sounds like you have a pretty good idea of what your job might be when you graduate, and a lot of that had to do with the internship, correct?
Yes. So at the end of my internship, my field manager had to write up a memorandum for a recommendation to be a full-time employee, because when you work in the federal government under the Pathways program, you can get converted into a full-time job potentially, depending on your performance and how much they like you.
Yeah.
And so the draft letter that got drafted for me is that they recommended me for conversion. My status right now with the government is I'm paid without leave, so I retain my government status. But after I graduate, they're trying to get me converted potentially.
Yeah, and this is going to be a job that would be in Chicago still.
Yes. So how I learned about the CFPB and how it works is it's unique, and that the field manager, or the field office rather, that's in Chicago. So we go down there for training and briefings and stuff like that. But that Midwest region is responsible for 9 different states in the Midwest. So as an examiner, we have to fly out to different states on a regular basis to go to these banks and financial institutions. So although it's located in Chicago, I'm going to be everywhere traveling.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It is.
Did you get to travel quite a bit during the internship itself?
No, and the sad part about that is because since the Pathways program is kind of on a budget, they didn't allow the interns to travel like to different states. What they did was like, okay, well, you guys could travel within the Chicago area with the exam teams and go with them. But that was the extent of traveling. Like, we weren't allowed to go to other states or DC or anything. And what was unique about my situation is all the examiners and all the directors and the head people in the CFPB, they went to Washington, DC for a week in July. And I asked my field manager, well, if everyone's going to be gone and all the interns are just going home in the Chicago area, can I fly back home to Houghton? And she's like, I don't see why not. You know, you'll work remotely anyway. So I went back home for a week in July and got to see my family for a short period of time and work here. And then I got a feel for what it's like to work at home as an examiner, which I will be doing eventually.
Excellent. One of the things that we've been talking about this experience you had as a whole, but the experience you're going through basically today is it's a really big deal for you.
Yes.
You're heading to do your capstone today at 4:30 p.m. Tell me what that capstone is and what people can expect at that event.
Okay, so my capstone is today. It's at Wardrow 303 at 4:30. And what that entails is I had to write a report, and then I have a presentation to do. My report contained a literacy review, and then it went into the different regulations and the structure with the CFPB, and then I had my field notes that I took over the summer. So I think one of the things is that it's unique in a way that I took that whole project and then made it into a PowerPoint presentation, which I'll have 20 minutes to present it, and I just hit on the key points, and then I'll get it explained to the public. This is what the CFPB does. This is its origins, and I get to tell the story of how it came about and what I got to partake in.
What's the biggest value in this capstone in your mind, and that you're looking forward to telling?
The biggest value of it is perhaps my emphasis on what I learned during the internship. That's going to hold a significant value. The literacy review is, in my opinion, like, I did a good job, but my feeling on it is, but to go into like explain what the internship is and saying, hey, this is what I learned and this is how it applies, holds bigger value than anything in a textbook could provide, because it's that experience, right? And you can't get experience just by being in a classroom solely. You have to go out in the real world and apply what you know.
I love it. If you're interested in criminal justice, if you're a criminal justice major here right now, make sure you get out there. 4:30 today at Wardland Hall. Again, this is Friday, November 17th. So if you're available, get out there, check it out, because it's going to be quite interesting, especially for those that are interested in the criminal justice program as a whole. One of the other things I wanted to ask you, given that you only have another 6 weeks here, or 4 weeks here,
Oh.
the time is coming to an end. And do you have any advice for somebody that's ending their first semester here?
I do. I told the corporate crime class my time in the realm is coming to an end here at Finlandia, and one of the pieces of advice I give to every CJ student social major is, read the books, be on time and just do what you need to do in the class. But also, you know, I encourage them to go out and apply for an internship too. And a lot of people come and ask me for advice on career advice and stuff and what the process is like, and then I just guide them. I'm like, this is what you can expect. This is what interviews will probably ask. You just need to do a little bit of research prior to your interview and work your questions and answers around that.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you for coming on Finlandia Fridays for a second time and telling your story. I think it's quite interesting, especially for those interested in majoring in criminal justice and sociology.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys all for being a part of Finlandia Fridays this week. A couple notes on the show. We will not have an episode next week. Enjoy Thanksgiving break. I know that I'm looking forward to seeing some family and relaxing a little bit. I'm going to also ask if you have the opportunity and you've been enjoying what Finlandia Fridays has to offer, please go rate and review our podcast. That'll help other people find it, and it's rewarding for us to see that kind of feedback. Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, go and please give us a review because we love to see that. And as always, the archive of all of our past Finlandia Fridays episodes, including the previous one with Chris, and all the show notes are available by visiting finlandia.edu/Fridays. Thank you guys all, and we'll see you in 2 Fridays.